And the superior oblique muscle moves our eyes in a circular motion clockwise, and the inferior oblique muscle moves our eyes in a circular motion counterclockwise, like this. The inferior oblique, and like this, the superior oblique in this direction. So in this direction, superior oblique, and then opposite direction, inferior oblique. Here's the summary of all of the eye muscles. The two structures we didn't go over yet was Levator Palpebrae and Optic Nerve. So I'm going to go back to the to this picture right here, and then describe the Levator Palpebrae muscle first. Levator Palpebrae muscle elevates. Levator Palpebrae means eyelid, so it elevates the eyelid. This is the eyelid right here, and this is the lower eyelid, this is the upper eyelid. You can see that in the eyelid, in the brow, in the lower eyelid as well, there's a muscle too, because it's in red color. This is the orbicularis oculi muscle that we studied earlier. But in addition, on the upper eyelid, there's also a ligament of the muscle called Levator Palpebrae muscle that extends through the eye socket and connects to the back of the eye socket with the rest of the ocular muscles. This muscle is used to elevate our eyelid, the upper eyelid, and open our eyes. So the orbicularis oculi muscle is used for closing the eyes or squinting, and then Levator Palpebrae is used for opening the eyes. When we open the eyes, we open our upper eyelid. And then the last structure is not a muscle, it's a nerve. You can actually see it in this picture right here in the yellow. It is partially covered by this lateral rectus muscle. And this nerve, called optic nerve, it's the nerve that is connected to the back of the eyeball here, right here behind the muscle. And then it actually exits the eye socket and travels into the brain. So the optic nerve carries the images that our eyes detect, like colors, different shades of light, and that information is carried into the brain, where we can actually analyze it and make actual pictures out of it. So optic nerve is also a part of this bundle of muscles and tendons and even ligaments here in the back of the eye socket. And the back of the eye socket is open. There's an opening in the back of the eye socket, and that's how the nerve, including the blood vessels that supply the living tissues of the eye, that's how they are able to get to the eye and get from the eye, from this eye socket, through this opening right here in the back of the eye socket. And finally, the spaces that are shown here in kind of brownish color, these spaces are empty in the picture, but they're not empty in the real eye. These spaces are filled with fat, so the adipose tissue that acts for cushioning of the eyeball, especially when we're walking or jumping, so that way our eye is protected even more. So there's lots of very sensitive structures inside of the eye. And if I go back to the picture from your textbook, you can see the optic nerve exiting the eye socket. This is the optic nerve connected to the back of the eyeball, and this is the optic nerve is exiting the back of the eye socket through this opening. It's surrounded by all of these tendons and ligaments. So in this view, if we go over all the muscles, this is a view from your textbook. Here we see the lateral rectus muscle, the superior rectus muscle, the inferior rectus muscle. There's also a little bit of the medial rectus muscle visible here behind the optic nerve. This is the superior oblique muscle passing through this ligament called trochleum, a little loop. And this one is the inferior oblique muscle. You can see it a little bit better how it connects to the eye socket on the medial side, closest to the nose. And cut here is the levator palpebrae muscle that would go into the eyelid. In this view here, the frontal view, we see the superior rectus muscle, the inferior rectus muscle, the lateral rectus muscle, the medial rectus muscle, the superior oblique muscle with a trochlea, and the inferior oblique muscle. So that's where it's connected, right next to the corner of the eye. This is where the corner of the eye is, where there's tears collecting in this lacrimal tear lake in the corner of the eye. So this is where the inferior oblique rectus muscle is connected to.